So let's create few UI and button. So what we can do is we are going to create a UI button. You can use this one or this one. This one maybe looks better. Okay, and then for this button there, then this button is created here in the center. We can make this one a little bit nicer. We don't need the text here, or maybe we do. And I have some icons as a PNG files. So what I'm going to add is I'm going to add this icon. It's called refresh icon. And we are going to add that inside. Let's say I'm going to make a new folder called images. And I'm going to drag this icon, replay icon, enter icon, exit icon, home icon. There's also the left button icon. All right. So we are going to make few icons now. So the first icon. So all of these images, if you are going to use that as a button and UI, you have to change some property here. So you have to change this property to sprite, 2D and UI, and apply. You just have to do that, all of them. Otherwise, the transparency of it doesn't show properly and stuff. So I'm going to change all of these properties, as all of this will become my UI buttons. Okay. Once I have that in my button, I'm going to make this one as refresh button. Replay button. In this button, I'm going to change the image. So here, I'm going to use this replay image instead. And this text, so it looks like that, yeah. So the size of this, I'm going to change this to 50/50. So this is I don't know why it's not square, but okay. And text can be something like this, and I'm gonna make it into white. Okay, and change this text into replay. I'm going to align this to the right upper corner. You will see here it also moves there. Okay, let's say, okay, we can accept this for now. Like this, okay. So what does this do? This will help us refresh and refresh the button to start from the first camera. So in order to do that, we need to give a button information, an event. So inside button, you can add an event. We're going to drag the main camera, and we are going to search for the camera follower number 6. That's what we added. And there is a thing called set current ID to 0. So the default is 0. So just set it as 0, which means, so the camera number 1 is 0, number 2 is 1, number 3 is 3, and so on. So what this, if you click on it, it's going to go back to the first camera. Let's play this and try. Okay, it's from camera number 1, went to camera number 2, camera number 3. Okay, we want to refresh it. So refresh to start. Okay, cool. We can also add a button to go to the next camera more faster. We don't have to watch every single thing. So I'm going to Control D, make this camera, make this button, copy this button, say next button. Let's also make this into replay button. Okay, so this next button, I'm going to put this down here on the bottom right corner and align this to the bottom right and change the icon into this arrow icon. This one, I only have this one, so I'm going to just rotate this image. Can I just rotate image only?
Hey, Somi.
Hey.
I just had a quick question. So the main camera, when you add like all these things, like the canvas and all the objects under the canvas, you're only adding it to the main camera, and all the other cameras are just kind of like fall under it, like childs of it or something.
So all the other camera is a guideline, and the script is following that, following these cameras. To be honest, they don't really have to be camera objects. They can be just boxes. What we are getting is their position and rotation and their animation.
Oh, I see. Oh, so you're just using them as like kind of like reference points for the
Yeah,
main.
exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
Exactly, yeah. Cool. And this canvas, yeah, so next button. I'm just trying to figure out how to flip this. Okay. If not, worst case, I will just rotate this like that. And I rotate this back. That works. Yeah. And then I'm gonna make this say next. And this one will use a camera follower number 6, but go to next camera function. It's already written. I'm going to do the same, Control D. This is a previous button. This, and just align it a little bit better. corner, change the image to arrow and say previous. And previous. This button will possess go to previous camera. Okay, so what does it do? Is play now. You can refresh to the camera number 1. You don't have to wait for the pausing. You can just go to the second camera, third camera, fourth camera, go to the previous camera. And such. All right. Cool. And we are going to actually work with like toggling for between different view and scenes. So we are going to make 2 more scenes. One is main scene, another scene is a completely different level. So we are going to make a new scene. We are going to save this scene as, save it as S number 7 main menu scene. Okay. And this one we are going to add a canvas. Right click, add a panel. This panel is just an image. We are going to add a image. You don't have to use an image. You can just use nicer background if you want. But for now, I have this kind of like really simple image. I'm going to drag it in. I'm going to use this here, but you have to change this to sprite. Apply. This without any transparency. Okay, so this will be our main menu when you launch your game. Okay. So for this one, we are going to right click and add a start and quit button. So button is a start button. So I'm going to make it larger. And of course, you can change the icon to be something nicer, right? I have this icon, which is slightly better. So I'm going to use this one and this one. Change this one to sprite. Apply. Sprite. Apply. Okay. And this will become my home play button.
So, Mick, what does the UI sprite mean, or why did you change it to?
So I don't know exactly, but if you don't change it to UI, you cannot use this image as a UI image in UI as a button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is for anything that is not like texture or yeah. So if you don't do that, for example, if you don't do that, apply, you cannot bring it here, for example, or it doesn't show properly. So what I want this to do is I want to use this play icon as my icon image, right? If I don't change it, it doesn't allow me to do that. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's just Unity thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So play button. Okay. And the text can be, I'm sure it can make it. No. Oh, I didn't use the Text Mesh Pro. It's okay, I can just delete this. So this is a play button. And I'm going to Control C, Control D, and quit button. Okay. Move this one down and use this quit button. Okay. So when I start the game, when I launch the game, I will launch from this main scene, and then this will take me to the other level. So for doing that, for adding accessing multiple levels, you need to go to the build settings here, and you have to add the main scene, add the scene, and it got a number here now. And you have to go back to the game scene, this scene, and add that as number 1 scene. So the main scene became scene number 0. The game scene became scene number 1. We are going to make one more scene for interior or anything else that you want to trigger to have it open. So control.
So I mean, so what is, sorry, what is the point of doing that? Like, why are you separating, or why are you adding like multiple scenes?
You will see. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to say when I play the button, you go
Yeah.
to the scene instead of starting from the scene.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, and you can make a new scene. This is just an example. Yeah, so for this one, I'm going to save scene as number 8 other level. So this is a completely new level, and this one, let's say what we want to interpolate this is going inside a building as an interior view. So to demonstrate that, we are going to still bring the house, and maybe I'm going to bake the lighting. And let's say, okay, this one is somewhere that is an interior view, for example. Maybe it's an interior view. Doesn't matter, really. So that's my main view. Okay, so I want to come to this view when I enter something. Just to have it prepared, you will see why we do this later, okay? All right, I'm going to go back to the main scene. So basically we have 3 scenes, main scene and the game scene, the main menu scene, the game scene, and another scene that is interior scene for our case. And the main scene have two buttons. So the play button, what we want to do is when we enter the play button, we go to the level number 1. So in order to do that, we will need this script called player controller. So in this script has really simple script. So it has go to specific level or quit game, go to next level, go to previous level, etc. Don't worry, we just use go to specific level. That's what we're going to use. So in the script, bring this one, player controller, and hook this up to your main camera. Main camera have a player controller component here. And then the first play button, add the main camera and use the player controller, go to specific level. We are going to go to number 1 level. Okay, and the quit button can use main camera, player controller, quit game. That's it. So now if I play this, play, that's what you will see in your game launch when you launch the game. And now you can actually quit the game. It doesn't quit now because you are in Unity, but it's gonna quit when you are in PC game or your mobile game. And now you can say play to go to this level. All right. So do you see why we added this? Just to add another level. In this case, just to go to have the game controlled from a menu. And then, but after we play this, after we go to this game, we cannot go back to the menu, isn't it? So we are going to add another button to go home, go to this home menu. So in the scene, this main game level, I'm just going to make one more button next to the Control D, next to the replay button. I'm going to make another button called home button. To here and change this image to the home button image, this one, and change the text into home. Okay, and this one will, instead of using camera follower, we need to use the player controller. So we will have to add the player controller here as well. So go to the script and bring the player controller. And in the home button, instead of camera follower, we use player controller and go to specific level. The number of the level is 0. That number is indicated here. So when you press home button, you want to go to the 0 level. Okay, so now if you play, you can go to any view, you can replay, you can go to home, you can also quit, you can play, go back to this scene. Home, play. So when you see, you can see that when you come back, it doesn't go to the specific level, right? So because of that issue, what we are going to do is we are going to go back to the main scene. And in the play button, we are going to add one more event. So in this main camera, after we go to the actual controller, actual level, we're also going to use this thing called reset current ID. Yeah, so this one will forcefully let the game to play from 0 whenever you play. So now if you play, so now we will go home from camera number 3. Now if you play, it goes back to number 1. Does it make sense so far?
So you're just like setting it so you can like reset back every time, pretty much. Like you're just adding like the
Yeah. So whenever you play the game, it plays from the beginning instead of from the middle.
Good.
Cool. A few more things we'll cover. So we have also this interior view. All right. So what do we want to do? For example, what we want to do is, okay, when I go to this camera number 3, let's say, whenever I'm here, whenever I'm in front of this building, I want to have something that warns me or tell me that I can actually click and enter this building and look at different sceneries. All right. So what if what if all of these buildings are different buildings? Yeah. And you want to trigger some kind of very specific things to happen when you arrive to this position. So I'm going to cover that right now.